Welcome to Broom Talk, where witches, healers, and magic makers gather to share their journeys, their magic, and their truths. I'm your host, Priestess Mellisa of Enchanted Dragonfly, inviting you to take a seat at the broom circle because the real magic is in the stories we tell. So let's stir the cauldron and speak the spell. So I have another magical being with me today. So tell us your name and your business name.
So my name's Leo McCarthy. I'm a medium. I do a lot of mediumship readings. I don't do as much psychic work. I do a little bit of that as well, but more mediumship. So I do one-on-one readings. I do them in person or over Zoom. I have an office in Northborough, Massachusetts.
Nice.
I do a lot of public gallery readings at different metaphysical shops, bookstores, yoga studios, etc., that I call Whispers from Spirit. I'm also an EFT tapping practitioner, so I do that as well, either over Zoom or in person, and that helps kind of process a lot of like either emotional triggers, traumas, limiting beliefs, etc. And it helps kind of like release the power those things have over us, and so we kind of release that and reframe the negative narrative into a more positive perspective for someone.
Nice. So.
And then I also do Reiki as well. And so I am a Reiki practitioner. I can do distant Reiki. I do it in person. And I also teach all levels of Holy Fire Reiki. So level 1, level 2, and Reiki Master Teacher.
Oh, interesting. That's so awesome. That's a lot of skills. And how did you start doing what you do?
So I've been doing massage for about 20 years, and massage can be taxing on the body. And I had decided later in my career, probably around like 2017, I was interested in looking into Reiki. When I went to massage school, I knew of Reiki, but it wasn't anything on my radar that I was interested in. But later in my career with massage, I was feeling like I was looking for something a little bit more gentle and something that was just maybe a different type of modality. And I knew of Reiki, and I was kind of like ready at that point. So in 2017, I looked for a teacher. I found a teacher that I resonated really well. We clicked. I did my level 1 and level 2 Reiki training with them. And then I ended up doing my Reiki Master Teacher training in 2018 with actually my teacher's teacher.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
everybody's connected.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what type of practitioner would you say you are?
I would say I'm a healer, in different ways, through healing messages, through mediumship, the EFT tapping, the Reiki, different meditations that I offer. And I would say,
Nice. Yeah. What is your spiritual origin story or an awakening moment?
I would say like an awakening moment for me goes back to probably like 2011. I had like a mental health crisis where I had kind of a psychotic break, which I mentioned in my bio. And at that point, my chakras, my upper chakras especially, blew wide open, and there was some chemical imbalances happening, but also like the upper chakras just blew wide open, and like the other side of the veil was just kind of like pretty overwhelming. And so it kind of was like overwhelming to my consciousness and myself. And through working through a combination of Western medicine, where I utilize medication to, manage the chemical symptoms. I also use energy work, etc., in the modalities that I use to balance like the chakras in my energy body. So when I moved along with that, it was then brought me back to or up to the point of the 2017 when I decided I was ready to kind of pursue the Reiki, and I got involved with the Reiki. And then after I got involved with Reiki is kind of when I felt like I found my people.
Yeah.
My spiritual circle, the people that like were like-minded and I resonated with.
Isn't it interesting how like one path in one direction or a little travel in one direction can bring you to this whole other world with this whole other life or lifestyle and people in your circle, your peers, and
absolutely.
What's your daily spiritual or magical practice like?
I would say on a daily basis, I'm pretty consistent with setting like daily intentions, setting energy protection and gratitude. And so I have sort of like my own routine ritual that I go through daily on a daily basis. It's evolved a little bit throughout the years. I feel like as we kind of get a stronger connection with source energy and the universe, we're vulnerable to more as well. So I feel like our practice and our spiritual journey evolves as well. So my energy protection has evolved as well along with that. I also utilize Reiki, where I do self-Reiki to kind of manage balancing my chakras. I also think it's really important to get work from other practitioners, because you can't do everything on your own. So I try to get some work from other practitioners. It doesn't happen every month, but I try to at least a few times a year get some work from other people. I do meditation. One of the things that I do, or I'm getting into also, is shamanic work. So I'm doing some shamanic journeying, and I'm starting this year to kind of start to offer like some shamanic work, like soul retrievals.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love that. Shamanic is it's very powerful. Yeah. Who or what inspires your path the most?
I would say what inspires me to keep going with my journey is knowing that I'm a healer, and knowing that this is sort of my purpose and calling. And just every single time, whether it's through a mediumship reading or Reiki or EFT tapping, that I find that I help transform people, and I see that shift in them energetically, where they sort of like, I feel like I help people kind of wake up, and even they might be at a certain point of their awakening journey, that I'm part of their journey to kind of help them, nudge them, and kind of steer them in the right direction.
Absolutely. What was the biggest challenge you faced on your journey, and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge has been, and it's kind of like an ongoing thing, being highly sensitive to energy, being an empath. Most of us that are highly sensitive deal with anxiety. And that is something like, it's very common. And so that is like a one day at a time thing. So different practices, different modalities, Western medicine helps kind of like manage that for me.
Nice. What tools, methods, or spirits guide your work?
With the mediumship, I have like a spirit team. I have only known one name from one of my original spirit guides. The rest of the team that's involved, I know it's not necessary for me to know. I just know they're there. And so I work with them with the mediumship. I also, if I'm doing a Reiki session, I tap into like my guides, but I also tap into the person maybe that I'm working with, to their either higher self or their spirit team as well. And I work with with the shamanic work, bringing in ancestors, spirit animals, power animals to do work as well.
Nice. Now, when with your mediumship, do you feel the people, or can you actually see them?
So for me, the way I receive information, I am a clairvoyant, so I see things in my mind's eye. I am very clairaudient, where I hear things kind of in my thoughts, kind of like how I describe it with clairaudience is kind of like you hearing a song in your head. It can be very subtle, or words. And I'm very claircognizant. So that's just like a clear knowing, where you get something just drops in. And I feel like the more that you trust your abilities and your guides, they utilize the claircognizance even more, because they know you're going to trust the information coming through.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. How do you stay energetically protected and grounded?
So like I mentioned earlier, with my daily practice of my intentions and my energy protection that I set daily, that's part of my initial baseline practice of energy protection. I also, if I'm at, let's say, my office in Northborough, I not only do my own intentions, but I also like clear the energy in my space using sage, Palo Santo. I use sound healing, where I use sound bowls, etc. I use Reiki, and I open sacred space with my shamanic practice as well. So I use multiple modalities to keep my space clear and clean.
Nice. What's one common misconception about your craft or your work?
I would say one of the misconceptions might be, if we're talking, let's say I'll go to mediumship. There's a lot of skeptics out there, and there's a lot of doubters, but there's also a lot of cynics. And so cynics more so being like, it doesn't matter if you prove something to them or give them validation, you're never going to convince them. But it's not my job to convince them what I do.
You're the messenger.
Yeah. Being skeptical is fine. It's okay. It's healthy. And it's like a curiosity. So they want to believe and they want you to show them. And so those I've seen many times, whether it's a one-on reading or in a group gallery setting. It's funny how the skeptics, especially in the group readings, they usually get some of the most interesting readings and messages that come through.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Can you share a powerful or memorable client transformation?
Yeah. Actually, one of my big transformations with somebody I worked with was actually a Reiki master teacher student. Nice. And as I was taking them through the Holy Fire Reiki Master Teacher Training is a 3-day classes rather, full day from like 9 to 5. And there's a lot of work that we do. There's a lot of meditation experiences, which are called Holy Fire experiences that we go through. But this particular individual, through a combination of Reiki and then also actually the EFT tapping that I mentioned earlier, to help, clear energy blockages, emotional triggers, limiting beliefs. A combination of all of that helped this person turn some of their traumas, triggers, and limiting beliefs. It kind of turned those upside down, where what they believed before maybe wasn't possible. They actually could see a new perspective, and they actually found that they were able to trust that, someone could hold space for them. What I run into, especially with this individual, is they had been through so much trauma and so many damaging experiences. When in their past experiences with different interactions, they felt like a lot of people reacted in a way where they felt like their stuff was too much. And so I find the types of people that I work with that come to me for the practices and the modalities that I offer often involve, there's a lot of trauma that needs healing, a lot of blocks that need to be cleared. And I feel like the things in my life experiences that I've been through allows me to hold space for people in a way where they trust me and they trust that they can be vulnerable. And when they can be vulnerable, it opens them up to like being successful with allowing the energy practice to work for them.
Nice. Yeah, that's important to be able to relate to them, especially if you're trying to help them. It's important to have that connection. Well, what sacred self-care practices keep you aligned?
I would say, again, my daily intentions that I set, and the self-Reiki, and then now, since I got into shamanic work, opening sacred space, those I feel like are the biggest pieces that keep me like on track.
Yeah, good. Yes. What does success look like to you as a spiritual business owner?
I think success for different people look differently. Success could be for someone like having a lot of profit with their business. Success could be working with many people. Where I see success is, it's like, I feel like it's one success at a time as each person that I work with, whether it's through mediumship, Reiki, the EFT tapping, the shamanic work. I feel in helping them succeed with moving through their traumas and pain makes me successful in being able to be the person to be on their journey to help them with that.
Yeah, sometimes they just need, like you were saying before, you need more than one person to help do something.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're that other person for them
Right.
to help them get through that.
Right.
Do you follow the moon astrology or seasonal cycles in your work?
I don't follow astrology. I've worked with the moon briefly a little bit. I honestly didn't understand until I got into, let's say, Reiki, that maybe the moon affected me. But I have come to find, especially the full moon, like probably a lot of people can relate, the definitely like the magnitude and effect on gravity that it has on us. I do see where, day to day when we're going through different life experiences, I find that with the full moon, it adds to like the intensities of whatever's going on. And, but also shows us in those times the biggest things that we need to work on.
Oh, it's true, right? And sometimes you don't even realize it until it's brought to your attention or what have you.
Right.
What's something you wish more people knew about energy work, divination, what have you?
I think it would be good for people to know that it doesn't have to be scary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different energy practices, people that work with different kinds of energy, crystals, whatever it may be. I feel like, I'm not going to get into it a lot, but I think organized religion has created a lot of fear in people.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that could be a whole nother episode.
It could, yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone just starting their path, what would it be?
I would say, don't try to do it on your own. But I feel like be a student.
Yeah.
And always be open to growing and evolving.
I always say that too. Always be a student, even if you're a teacher. Absolutely.
And follow your intuition.
Yeah. That's where I think a lot of people don't. Like they just kind of ignore it. That voice or that initial.
Yeah. A lot of times, especially highly sensitive people, like I mentioned, I am as well. And a lot of people that work with energy or in a spiritual practice, a lot of these people that are waking up, they're highly sensitive as well. And so they're having these sort of beginning of awakenings for themselves, and they're realizing like there's more to life than what they actually have been seeing around them. And they have a comfort zone that they're in, and so in order to kind of explore things outside their norm, you have to kind of get outside of your comfort zone and don't be afraid to kind of push yourself outside your comfort zone, I guess, is my message.
Yeah, that's a good advice. Yeah, because it can be very overwhelming too when you're just waking up or just starting that path, for sure. And what magic are you currently brewing in regards to any events you're doing, any classes you're teaching, or what have you? Well,
something that I released recently is an offer that I do is called My Connection Experience. And what it is, it involves mediumship, but it's not me doing mediumship. So what I do is I would take you, let's say, through an experience where I would kind of relax you, do a little breath work. I would take you through some visualization exercises to kind of warm up your clairsenses. And then what I would do is I would help you raise your vibration and connect to somebody or a loved one in spirit connected to you. And we would invite them to come directly to your mind, not me.
Oh, interesting.
And so I would coach you and I would help link and anchor the connection. And then basically what I have someone do as they get connected and the connection gets stronger, I actually have you verbally talk it out and just give it to me as you're getting it. And I help kind of just draw it out of you, that message and that validation from spirit directly to you.
Oh, nice.
And so that session it might be like 30 to 45 minutes or so, but even a seasoned practitioner that either does mediumship or spiritual work, again, I can connect with my loved ones as well because I'm a medium. But it's different. It's a different type of connection doing it that way, in a way that having another person hold space for you, allowing you to not be the driver, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah, that's very interesting. I might take that myself. And now for some fun questions.
Sure.
When is your sun, moon, and rising signs, if you know them?
I'm going to tell you I don't know them.
Do you know what sign you were born into?
I'm a Cancer.
Okay, so that would be your sun or ascending sign.
Okay.
What they call it. Moon and rising are different ones. Rising is usually what your portrays your personality, and the moon usually is what portrays a lot of it, like your emotions and your inner self.
Okay.
In a simple birth chart, I can run your birth chart for you if you like, and it has all this deep dive information.
Great.
It tells a lot. Do you have a favorite crystal, herb, or tool that you always work with?
I would say one of my favorite crystals is smoky quartz.
That's nice.
That's been one of my favorites from the beginning, before I even started collecting crystals. I started collecting crystals, got a couple of crystal books, and it was funny. I was looking through one of my crystal books, and I just opened it one day and just opened it up at a random page, and smoky quartz was there.
Nice.
And I looked at it, and my intuition was like really drawn to it. And it's like, oh yeah, I like
so
this.
Smooth.
Yeah, and just I find I collect a lot of different smoky quartz. So as you collect crystals, you find that when we get started with that, it kind of doesn't stop sometimes. May slow down a little bit, but we get all kinds of different forms and shapes and types of different crystals. But I am drawn to, I feel like, the protective energy and the grounding energy of the smoky quartz.
Yeah. And it's just, the vibration is just, I feel like it's so smooth.
And being a quartz crystal, it's very powerful as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have a nickname or an archetype that you resonate with?
I would say I would almost call myself like maybe the bridge to spirit.
Nice. Yeah, I could see
like
that.
I'm a comfort bridge to spirit, I would say.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Tea or tincture?
Tea.
Tarot or runes?
Tarot.
Cauldron or candle?
Candle.
Nice. If your spirit guide had a voice, what would it sound like?
Great question.
Thank you.
I feel like it would be a deep voice, but in what's coming to mind, it's kind of funny, but like as you asked me the question, what popped into my head was Darth Vader, but really, I'm hearing James Earl Jones.
Yes, I was going to say James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Right.
Yeah, that's hilarious. And are you a Star Wars fan? Or like a sci-fi or anything?
I am not as much of a sci-fi, but I would say I'm more Star Wars than a Trekkie.
Okay, yeah. Do you have any pets?
We have one cat at our house. She's a female that we adopted after one of our cats had passed. It's kind of my daughter's cat. It just, grieving the loss of the cat. Everybody has their opinion on like how soon do you replace or get another animal, etc. We just we realized we needed to kind of fill a void. And for my daughter's mental health, we ended up adopting a cat. And she's a sweet little white cat. And I feel like she's like the yin energy of the house.
Yeah. they're like your pets, and I feel like that time frame of when to do it is up to the individual and how you're feeling about it and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So those were all the questions I had for you.
Great.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I would say, again, just, for me, I think I mentioned that it was after Reiki that I felt like I kind of found my people, my like-minded individuals, and I've just continued to kind of create my spiritual circle, especially if you're going through like the awakening process. I know what has helped me is, of course, reading, but getting involved with different like metaphysical shops like yourself, and what really was helpful for me is actually over COVID, I started listening to podcasts. And I never listened to podcasts before. And when I started listening to podcasts, I was interested in spirituality. And I felt like even though it wasn't in person, I felt like it was a great way to feel spiritually plugged in. So if I'm not in person with an individual or a group, it was kind of a way to kind of bridge that gap in between, real connections.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So I'm going to put a link for them to find you in the description. Did you have a particular page you wanted them to go to?
Yeah, they can go to my website. It's leojmccarthy.com, LeoJMCCARTHY.com. I have all my information for my services. There's a link directly to my podcast, Mystery of the Soul, which we just released your interview, Melissa.
Yeah, he just posted. So that he is the gentleman that was hosting that with his co-host, Julia. So that is what I just released a few days ago. So that is also on my page. So I'll put his website in the link of this description. And as always, come see us at Enchanted Dragonfly. We are a metaphysical shop at 99 Church Street in Whitinsville, Massachusetts. And give this a podcast a like, a follow, a subscribe to the channel, like the episode. Go check out his podcast. He's got some great interviews. And as always, blessed be. Love you all, guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.